welcome in. How are you doing today?
I'm really good. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. I just want to thank you very much for coming in today and taking time out of your busy schedule. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I have to tell you, I'm just in awe of your son, Daniel. He is such a joy to have in class. From the day that he's walked in, he's always come in with a smile and a great sense of humor. So on behalf of myself and everybody else in my class, I can tell you that he's just amazing. You should be very proud of the individual that he is and the progress that he's made since he walked into our classroom.
We are very proud of him. He's a wonderful child.
Yes, you should be. So just to start off, I want to tell you that I've been assessing Daniel in a couple of areas as far as reading goes. We've tested him in things like phonics, vocabulary fluency, and comprehension. Just to give you some background, phonics is just him being able to correlate sounds to actual letters and groups of letters in words. And fluency is just being able to read but not in a choppy form or a robotic form. That comes with a lot of practice. And then comprehension is him just understanding the text that he's reading. And lastly is vocabulary. So just like our conversation that we're having right now is him having a wide range of vocabulary and being able to define those words. He has a lot of areas of strength, and considering the fact that he just moved to the States from Mexico, I can tell you I'm very proud of him. One of his strongest areas is definitely comprehension. He can easily point out any details within a passage and rephrase it to a friend or a peer. I gave him a comprehension test, and he had no problem answering any of my questions, so that was great. He's also really strong in vocabulary because he's able to identify multiple, double meaning words. So those words that have two meanings, he can easily identify those, and he can give a definition to both. So that's a really strong skill set. Again, considering his transition, it's very impressive. In terms of his phonics, he's also exceptional with his blends. So if you're not familiar with blends, it's like the beginning of a word as far as like train or bright. Being able to say that truh and that bruh part is difficult, especially for somebody coming in from a different country. So that was even really good. However, there are some things that concern me, and that's just little things that can be fixed. One of them, alongside with fluency, although he was stronger in other areas, fluency was definitely one that he struggled with. I gave him, obviously in 5th grade, but I gave him a list that started at 1st grade. He was fine, but after 2nd grade, he reached a level of frustration. The list that I gave him were no longer than 10 words, and he didn't get 3 or 4 of those words right. So that is definitely an area of concern. And he also struggled with comprehension. Even though he can tell me what he read, he can't really tell me in great detail. He literally gives me a one-word sentence or a phrase to describe what he read. Even though he's right, it's very vague, so I want to work on that. As far as phonics goes, inflected endings are definitely an issue. That's more so talking about the past tense forms of a word. So if I tell him to tell me marched, he'll say march instead of marched and ignore the ed. So that's another area that needs some help.
So what are you doing to help Daniel?
As far as fluency goes, it sounds a little, it's not a fun activity, but it is going to help him. I give him a passage and I set a timer of a minute. So within that minute, I'm recording how many words he's reading per that minute. And then as far as summarizing and being able to pick out those details and comprehension, I'm having him answer 3 basic questions after everything that he reads. It's what is the main idea, what details are crucial to supporting any other supporting details, and what information is relevant or irrelevant to make the main idea noticeable. Lastly, I'm doing something called Elfinin boxes. I give him a whiteboard and I give him a word, and he draws boxes around the syllables. He's able to follow along, and he repeats the word over and over again so he can see how the words break down, and he can pinpoint either suffixes or root words.
So that sounds really great. Is there anything I can do to help Daniel further his education at home?
Yeah, definitely. I have a couple ideas. One of them is the audio assisted reading. This is basically just an audio that I'm going to send home with him, and he's going to read that passage, listen, and follow along with the audio the first time, and then the second time he's going to read it aloud with audio. And then slowly he's going to start getting away from that audio and completely take that away and have him just read aloud. This will definitely increase that fluency that he needs. And if he'll be able to listen to the correct form of it, it's going to become an easier task for him. I also have something called visual imagery. I noticed that he likes to draw a lot, so he's really into comics, so I figured the best way to have him be more accountable for comprehension is to hold him accountable for his reading. So if he's actually creating a mental image of the things that he's reading, then he's involved in the text. And after he creates that mental image, he has to describe it to a friend, how he came up with that image and what word specifically helped him come up with that image.
That sounds great. I think that's something he'll really enjoy.
Yeah.
Is there any materials that you can send home with him to really help me?
Yeah, like I said, the audiobooks is definitely one that I'm going to send home. Another thing is I'm going to send words, like I said, to increase his vocabulary so he can create his own word wall at home. That way he has something that's a constant visual for him in the classroom, and when he goes home, that way he can expand that vocabulary. And then I'll of course try and send home even like little examples of the images as far as visual imagery, just so he has something to work alongside. I know that he likes comic books a lot, so I'm going to try and send home more comics that are at his actual grade level instead of lower, because right now he tends to steer towards lower grades. I'm going to try and get him on the higher level. Daniel claims to love to read comics. Do you actually see him reading those comics at home?
Yeah, always.
Okay. Is there anything that you or any other family member does at home to help him, or?
We really just encourage him to keep reading. Even though it's just comics, it's better than just looking at pictures. It does have some words, so we just really try to encourage him to keep reading more than anything.
Right, right. And what would you consider to be an area that Daniel struggles in? Do you notice anything at home, or even when he's speaking? Like I said, I know that there's a language barrier. Do you notice anything that he struggles with?
I noticed that he does struggle a little bit with, like, when reading longer passages, he gets a little lost and not the fluency of it, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
He struggles with staying on track because he'll chop up a word, and I think it just throws him off for the rest of the passage.
Okay, well hopefully some of these intervention plans that I have will work out for him. Once again, like I said, Daniel's a really smart kid and he's really eager to learn, so I'm excited to see his growth within the next semester and hopefully the following years. So I just want to thank you again for coming in. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.